Ah, the children of orthodoxy. I see you've returned, moaning and weeping, clutching your holy voters like talismans. Come with me and I'll guide you through my argument. I had thought the matter settled. I had explained already how voting, in matters of divine truth, reveals not certainty, but doubt. And yet you cry out again. But these were not ordinary voters. These were holy men. Their votes were guided by God himself. Very well. Since your lament insists upon it, I shall oblige you. Welcome to Orthodoxy Refuted, Part 2. Let us revisit the thought experiment, this time with your sacred premise intact. It is evident. When truth is enforced by vote, when salvation is tethered to conciliar assent, then the Church has replaced what is with what is decided, and that is no longer truth, but submission. And submission is not the same as understanding. Let us seek what is eternal, not what is declared eternal. For the eternal does not wait for councils to recognize it. Now let us begin.
Hey guys, I went back in time to the Council of Nicaea to see if it's legit or just a boomer convention. Let's go.
So how did you guys determine the truth?
We took a vote.
You're joking, right?
Where did you get this word Homoousios?
Constantine.
And where did he get it from?
Paganism. We're not really sure.
Were you the first to use this word Homoousios?
No, the Hermetics were first in Poimandres, which Constantine's advisor Lactantius quotes 14 times.
Unbelievable.
My grandfather actually condemned a man for using Homoousios in Antioch.
Yeah, so you don't all like the term?
No. We'll sign the creed only because we can interpret it differently.
So historians in my day say Gnostics first introduced you to Homoousios. Is that true?
Turn this off now.
Whoa, why is everyone upset?
Who are they to decide Orthodox doctrine for us? We should be in there.
So Homoousios came from Constantine. He got it from pagan monotheism. And many bishops don't even like it. Whoa! Let's keep going. Wait, say that again on camera, please.
It's just about when to keep Easter. The Alexandrians like using the stars, others use Passover, and it's not getting anywhere.
I got my tradition from John. And I got my tradition from Mark.
And I can't believe this actually happened.
Why does your anathema say Jesus is the same hypostasis as the Father?
Because he is.
Oh, that's right. You haven't figured that one out yet.
What if I told you that in a few years you'd have to say the Son is a different hypostasis than the Father?
I'd say they're anathema.
There's more contradictions in this room than a first semester logic class, and I'm gonna break some time travel rules and give it to them straight.
The simple fact is that the man they condemn here, named Arius, is the only one in attendance who uses a word for Trinity within 20 years before or after this council. Constantine's son will take over in a few years, hold a council with over 400 bishops, and make Arianism authoritative. So enjoy while it lasts.
Most of you will be heretics within a few generations, and many of your teachers will be too, like Origen.
No, not Origen.
You're not from the future.
Dang, guys, what happened to being like Christ?
Oh, here you are again, the faithful flock, moaning for holy voters to save your doubts. How can you not see that when your bishops vote, it reveals uncertainty, not certainty? But no, you're back with crocodile tears. But voting is synergistic. The Spirit guides it. Let's not pretend Acts is your blueprint. The Jerusalem Council didn't say, let us vote on the nature of the gospel. Instead, they said, it seemed good to the Holy Spirit and to us. A neat phrase, but not a command. As R.L. Solberg notes, this is advisory language. It seemed good to us suggests human deliberation, not divine decree. That wasn't a ballot. It was direction from the Spirit itself. No ballots, no quorums. Just unanimity, or at least speech inspired by witness. No vote required. You claim these voters, your bishops, your synods, are so holy that God himself has decided to override the natural order for them. Let me get this straight. God, eternal Logos, the very embodiment of reason and truth, has chosen a council chamber stuffed with uncertain, debating clerics, some bribed, some confused, some angry. And he says, yes, here. Here is where I shall suspend logic itself. Oh yes, the divine plan. let there be confusion in ballots, because you claim these voters can now violate the law of non-contradiction, redefine moral duty, generate new truths. Truths that weren't true last century, but are now, because the right group voted on them. Tell me, what kind of God must you worship to believe? He says, let there be heresy on Monday and orthodoxy on Tuesday once we've reached quorum, led by the Spirit? And yet, these same holy voters debated endlessly. They needed threats of imperial exile to come to consensus. Some refused to sign, others walked out, and yet, by your account, God still ratified the whole mess. What a strange God you believe in. One who binds himself, not to truth, but to paperwork. You think these men, by wearing a cassock and being declared in communion, have been given power to override epistemology, to bypass God's very nature as truth? So now truth is not what is, but what they say it is. Listen to yourselves. You've turned God into a bureaucrat. You've made the Spirit a secretary who initials decrees after a council vote. You've taken the God who made the mind and reasoned with prophets and replaced him with a cosmic parliamentarian. You say it's not democracy, it's conciliarity. But when logic fails and only the in-club can contradict reason without penalty, that's not faith, that's superstition. You literally believe in the God Democraticus, God of polling. Worse, it's idolatry, not of statues but of councils, not of God but of holy voters, and at best a God of votes. And what a miracle, children, that God has finally found a group so holy they can contradict him, for him.
Ah, I see we are gathered again. I am back, yes, I have returned, to finalize my argument, to speak plainly, decisively, and without apology. Oh, how delightful! Truly, what a sight! Grown men, cloaked in embroidered robes, solemn-faced, voting to decide the nature of truth. But no flood of tears can sanctify the absurdity of voting on truth. You must forgive me. I try to remain composed, but the idea is simply too absurd. What is this, theology, or a puppet show? You don't vote for truth. You vote because you lack it. And then you proclaim the vote was the truth, because you are terrified to admit what every honest man knows. We don't know, but we need the appearance of knowing. Consider this hypothetical. A man stands before you with a large metal card and a box too small to conceal it. He says, I will either place this metal card in this wooden box or not, and then place it in a room. If I attempt to hide it, I will be killed. You, however, are not permitted to look, and your life depends on the result being correct. Instead, 12 men will enter the room, one by one. Each of them carries a metal detector, said to be 100% accurate. Not only that, but these devices have been passed down for centuries. They come with a divine warranty. The warranty states, these detectors will never fail, for their maker has sworn to their children and their children's children that they will always work perfectly. So, the 12 go in. The card is either there or it is not. And they get to open the box and see. Each one of them, in groups and individually, gets to look in the room and inside the box, and uses the tool each time. But when they return, something strange happens. Some shrug, some furrow their brows. All of them look scared and confused, as if they weren't sure of what they saw, as if the metal detector wasn't 100% accurate. Some say nothing. Then, some of them looking confused, they proceed to debate. They cannot agree on if the card was there or not. And then they all get together in a council and they all agree. And then they say, in unison, let us vote. Now pause, dear children. Let us reflect. If the detectors truly work, if they are flawless, and if the card is impossible to hide, why the vote? Why disagreement? Shouldn't all 12 have seen the same thing? Shouldn't the detectors, guided by the Maker's eternal promise, have given a clear, unanimous reading? And yet, they vote. Remember, your life depends on the result. Would you not, at this point, begin to question the detectors? Would you not say, if these tools are perfect, why don't they agree? Now, children, do not flee. You said, this is not a card, Socrates. This is God. Exactly. You claim God has given his church a perfect instrument, faith, the Holy Spirit, infallible communion with truth. You say your councils, your bishops, your voters, do not err. Then I ask again, why the vote? Why the disagreements, the schisms, the excommunications, the counter-councils? If your connection to God is as flawless as you claim, then truth should be obvious. The moment 12 men must vote is the moment you admit, our divine detector is broke. You quote to me with great pride, the truth is not found in the majority, but in the consensus of those in communion with the Spirit. Children, that is just another way of saying majority of the approved class. It is still a vote. It is still fallible men, guessing, then ruling. And what happens if you don't obey that vote? You are condemned, cast out, declared a heretic. So your salvation, your entire eternal fate, rests on the outcome of a vote you claim was never needed in the first place. But the vote happened. The council met. The detectors disagreed. And that is all the proof we need that the divine instrument failed or was never there. Would a perfect God need a ballot to speak? Or is this just men, in robes and incense, pretending their uncertainty is sacred? So I ask again, sweet children of orthodoxy, if your device were truly divine, why do you keep having to vote? Why do you fear questioning it? And if you still do not know whether the card is in the box, why do you demand that others stake their lives on your guess? Very well. Let us now speak not with rhetoric nor tears, but with reason. For if your claim is bold, that your church is the one true church, founded by God, preserved by his Spirit, and protected from error, then it must be tested, not merely believed. You quote, as your cornerstone, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades shall not prevail against it. Matthew 16:18. From this, you assert that your church, the Orthodox Church, has been preserved from corruption, that it cannot fall into error because God will not permit it. Let us then reason together. Syllogism, major premise. If a church is divinely guided and protected from error by God, it would have no need to vote to determine the truth, since truth would be revealed clearly and directly by God's Spirit. Minor premise. The Orthodox Church frequently votes to determine doctrinal truth, dogma, and canonicity through councils, synods, and ballots, indicating uncertainty and reliance on human consensus. Conclusion. Therefore, the Orthodox Church is not divinely guided in the way it claims, for its very method demonstrates a lack of divine clarity. Voting, in this context, is not a strength. It is evidence of absence. It is evidence of a false church. And so I ask you, if God were truly within you, in your chambers, your councils, would not his voice be so clear that no vote would be necessary? Would the Spirit of truth whisper ambiguously, forcing holy men to count hands like politicians? You claim voting is synergy between man and spirit. I say, it is a substitute, a crutch, a ritual to mask divine silence. If the Orthodox Church is the pillar of truth, why must it consult ballots to know what is true? No, we must conclude, either God has grown silent, or the connection was never there to begin with. In either case, your own process betrays your claims. Your doctrine is not confirmed by voting, it is undermined by it. And so I say, not all who build on rock stand unshaken. Some build castles of certainty atop the trembling ground of majority rule.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I was wondering, did he say I am that I am, or we are that we are?
What?